And Samuel was like, you tell the story.
Well, it's funny because, okay, you know, it actually is interesting because when I first came up with this story idea, I actually followed a different story than what I ended. I wrote that opening scene.
Right.
But the story I first came up with was a different story. And it was like after the Civil War. And the Django character would have been more like Sam Jackson's age. And so that opening stuff would have been like the first 3 or 4 scenes that set up his origin.
Right.
And then we hop to after the Civil War.
Right.
And now he's already a professional bounty hunter and he's doing this and he's doing that and he's doing the other thing. Well, that was the idea. But then I kept writing the scenes and I knew I couldn't make that leap. I needed to tell Django's story right off out of the chains.
Right.
I need to be Django Unchained.
Right.
Not Django post-Civil War.
Right.
Already a professional.
Yeah.
I'm skipping the most important part of the story.
Right.
So now, I never told Sam that he was going to be Django in the film. I think he just assumed it.
Motherfucker.
And I just assumed it upon thinking about it. All right. But then as it went on, Django became younger.
Right.
And so Stephen came up.
Yeah.
And to actually deal with the racial politics of the house nigga and his situation in the plantation with everybody else. Whoa, now we're getting into it. Right. Now this isn't just white hat, black hat bullshit. Right. Exactly. Now we're going to actually deal with the racial politics that we're still dealing with today. We're dealing with the black and white today, and we're dealing with the light and dark today.
2 black dudes that just shook their head when you said the house nigga. We still dealing with these motherfuckers. They say, motherfuckers, it's on my head right now.
Back to Sam. So he gets the script, which I'm going to send him the script, but I'm going to call him up and set him up for it.
Yeah.
He got it already.
Yeah.
Right? So, QT, what's going on? Like I said, I want to talk to you about Django Unchained. Yeah, I want to hear about it. So I'm talking to him about it, and I go, okay, I got it. Oh, you got the script already? Yeah, I got it. I done that.
Hilarious.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, they go over and read it then, and kind of figured out I'm going a little, I changed, things changed in the course of the ride, and Django's a little younger. Yeah, I noticed that. What do you think about Stephen? What do you mean, what do I think about it? Well, I mean, you have any problem being Stephen? What do you mean? Do I got any problem playing the most despicable black motherfucker in the history of cinema? No, I got no problem with that.
Hilarious.
Oh shit, motherfucker, I'm already in it. I'm working with my makeup guy about making my own, and I want a white skin, I want a dark skin, I want a white hair and dark skin. I'm already in this shit.
Incredible. We're getting it live here, folks. It's Jamie Foxx, Foxxhole Radio. What's cracking other than crack your ass? We're right here with the most incredible director in the world, Quentin Tarantino. We're going to take a break, and we're going to wrap it up. When we come back, we're going to get into nominations. We're going to get into where Django can go. The ride has just begun. We'll be back in 2 seconds. Put the weed down.
My name is Mia. I'm 8 years old. I just called you because I like your show. My whole family loves your show. My grandma, my grandpa, my mommy, my daddy. And I think it's...
Quentin Tarantino Records, baby! Mixtape Volume 1! It's going down! Listen to this record, man. Wow. I hear Kanye West already chopping this right now.
Yeah, right.
I hear.
I gotta ask you. I didn't even ask you this. What did you think of the opening credit sequence?
Man, that open credit sequence was amazing, man. It's just the way it looked, how you took us to. Look, this is what I gotta say. Amazingly beautiful, horrific in a cinematic way, meaning us in the chains. The one thing that my partner Breon Prescott said, the shot with the camera right on Django's face as he's walking.
Yeah.
He said, I don't even know how to explain that shit, dog, but that shit was, what y'all call that shit? That shit was crazy. How your face was just, I said, it was amazing. You touched all of the senses. What I will say too is my sister, who's, you know, we're so well versed on your movies, her favorite movie, you know, is Kill Bill. She said, this is cinematic. We've never seen Quentin Tarantino outside like this.
No, that's true. That was the biggest leap for me.
Yeah, you were outside in those rocks, and it just caught everybody like up and said, okay, we're on our way. We're about to have a ride. So for everybody, it was like diving.
Even the use of the song, which is borderline corny, but it's huge, it's big, and this is like this. It's that kind of big story,
man. And I think that's what people really, for one, they responded to the music like incredible. But that open scene, man, it's a movie.
Yeah,
it really is cinematic.
And this man is here to say, when you see them walking in that cold night and that breath coming out, that ain't no CGI bullshit. That's real breath. That shit was cold.
And what I appreciated about you and working with you for the first time was you're a tough son of a bitch at the beginning of this goddamn process. And it was like 2-a-days in practice. To get your helmet on, we may have a drink break here and there. We got to go to work, period. I don't want to hear nothing. Leave your cell phones. But then when we started working, you were the coach on Friday night. If someone got hurt on the field, you went out to the field, checked on. I watched how you interacted with the guys that were playing slaves, these who had no lines with these chains on. And every time in between, you went and checked on them. That's your process.
Well, you know, remember we told that story before about I wrote the script, I was thinking about it and everything, and I had dinner with Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
And we talked about the film, and he hadn't read the script yet, but he's a wonderful man, and he's kind of like a bit of a father figure to me.
Right.
And not only that, he actually directed one of the first great black westerns, Buck and the Preacher.
Right.
Well, it's like, kills the motherfucker.
Right.
You know, what's going on though is I'm talking to him, and I had real trepidation about the idea of marshaling 100 black folks as slaves, as extras, and putting them in chains and marching them through the mud and doing auction scenes, and planting cotton fields and sticking 100 black folks out there in the hot sun picking cotton and everything. I thought it could be too painful to do, and then I thought about maybe shooting those scenes in another country. Maybe Trinidad, or the West Indies, or something, or Brazil, and casting Brazilians, or too. But this is an American story. It could be one step removed. That could maybe make it a little easier to do. So I'm telling him my little plan about all this, and he told me to man up.
Wow.
He goes, you're trying to avoid the subject of your movie.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like you've written a hot potato and you're a little afraid of your own movie.
Yeah.
You need to get over it.
Yeah. Listen, let's talk about that, because we actually talked off air about bringing this up, and you said, let's talk about it. Some black folks, I know, are gonna have a hard time with this movie. But you made a very interesting point about the next generation.
Well, that's really important. I mean, look, you make a movie like this, and yeah, of course it's going to be controversial now coming out. I mean,
it's Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, it's coming out in 2 weeks, so it's under a magnifying glass right now with like stadium lights on it, and everybody in the fucking world can pop off on it. We live in a world where anybody can talk about shit, and they get picked up 92 related articles and go, and well enough, fine, all good. All right, and so this is the flashpoint time for any controversial movie, any movie that's ahead of its time, any movie trying to do something different, whether it's Clockwork Orange, all right, whether it's the Wild Bunch, fucking anything.